Namaskar. I welcome you all to this presentation on COVID-19, a nanomonster bringing the world down to its knees. In this brief presentation, we shall try to understand this pandemic which is traumatizing the entire globe. COVID, the nanomonster. Microorganisms have always been associated with infectious diseases. Among different types of microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoans, and viruses, bacteria and viruses are known to be major culprits of majority of human diseases. Viruses are submicroscopic organisms that are so small that they even happen to escape the magnification of normal microscopes. Viruses are minute monsters which are measured in nanometers. The weight of a single virus is about 0.85 attograms, that is around 0.85 into 10 power minus 18 grams, that is 1 millionth of a trillion grams. Considering 70 billion viruses make an individual sick and over 2 million individuals are infected with COVID currently worldwide, the total weight of virus tyrannizing the world right now weighs less than a gram. Unlike other microorganisms that can be treated with therapeutic agents, viral infections can only be remedied by our immune system. Viruses are known to be responsible for a plethora of seasonal illnesses like common cold and flu, which are efficiently managed by our immune system. But mankind has encountered viruses like SARS, MERS, and Ebola that have proven to be extremely catastrophic. And COVID-19 is an appendage to this list, which is also the topic we are dealing today. COVID-19 stands for Coronaviral Disease 2019, which according to studies has originated from the wildlife flea market of Wuhan, China. Now let's try to understand a little bit about coronavirus. Coronaviruses are a group of viruses predominantly seen causing infections in animals and rarely show occurrences in humans and birds. They are called coronavirus because of the characteristic crown-like appearance under the electron microscope. Whenever a virus is seen for the first time in human beings, they are called as novel viruses. Further, when a disease is spread across countries and continents, it's called as a pandemic disease. COVID-19 is a pandemic disease that has spread to more than 190 countries worldwide and has been indomitable ever since. Corona is a spherical virus with RNA strands as genetic material and characteristic spike proteins on the surfaces. Now we shall just try to understand the symptoms and complications which are shown by COVID. COVID-19 symptoms are very similar to that of viral flu. The disease has an incubation period of 2 to 14 days, that is, from the time of entry of the viruses into our system to the onset of the first characteristic symptom. Some of the symptoms showed by infected individuals include difficulty in breathing, coughing, or at least the bottom two of the symptoms as per the CDC list, like fever, repeated chills, muscular pain, severe headache, sore throat, loss of sense of smell and taste. Thankfully, in most of the cases, the illness and symptoms subsides by the action of immune system, which are coupled with medications prescribed for specific symptoms. But in some cases, the disease can progress further, leading to complications, thereby increasing the chances of death. Possible complications with COVID-19 infection include acute respiratory distress syndrome, which is also called as ARDS, arrhythmia, in simple words they are called as irregular heartbeat, heart failure, severe muscular pain, so on. People who are at higher risk than the normal healthy individual to this disease includes people above the age of 65, people in long-term nursing facility, people with underlying medical conditions like chronic lung diseases, serious cardiac conditions, weak immune system, severe obesity, kidney-related complications, liver-related complications, diabetes, so on. Now, we shall just try to understand how this coronavirus spreads. The coronavirus is thought to spread mainly through droplets, that is, during the act of sneezing, coughing, and talking. The worrisome aspect of this enigmatic disease is that the disease carriers of this disease can be asymptomatic, making them indistinguishable from rest of us. The virus can also remain on different surfaces and inanimate objects for a very long period. The spread of this disease occurs in 4 stages. Stage 1, which are also called as imported cases. This is when the disease spread is mainly due to travel history of infected person. That is, when a person happens to return from a virus-hit country to his native. Stage 2, which is also called as local transmission. when the infected cases have been reported due to them coming in contact with people who have already had a travel history. Stage number 3, which is also called as community transmission, when the infected person is not exposed to anyone with travel history but instead contracts it from the community. Stage 4 is epidemic scale. This is the last and most dangerous stage where the disease is spread on an epidemic scale like what we are seeing in China and USA. Next, the million-dollar question we have is COVID-19 the deadliest of all the viral diseases? Mankind has seen several viral diseases before, like SARS, MERS, Ebola, which were as devastating as what we are seeing with COVID-19. Regarding the fatality rate, from the statistics available across the world, COVID-19 has claimed lives of around 1% affected population, which is comparatively much lesser to that of SARS, which accounts for 11%, MERS, which accounts for 35%, and Ebola, which has an whopping 90%. But the matter of deep concern is that the spread of the disease across the globe is like no other diseases reported in the recent times, and chances of complications among aged population and among people with certain medical condition is extremely high. Now we shall also try to understand a little bit on how the disease is detected and do we have any treatment for COVID-19. The main criteria in detecting individuals with COVID infections include studying their travel history and characteristic signs and symptoms as listed by the CDC. When an individual happens to show the symptoms, it is further confirmed by laboratory testing reports. The testing procedures vary in developing countries and developed countries. The main laboratory testings includes serological methods like ELISA and molecular methods like real-time PCR. Both the techniques have their own advantages and limitations. In India, when a person is suspected to be infected with COVID, which is depending on his travel history and signs and symptoms of the illness, he or she is subjected to a laboratory diagnosis. Samples of his or her body fluids is checked for antibodies for viral antigen. Further, if found positive, it is confirmed by PCR-based molecular methods. Developed countries having no dearth of infrastructure and medical facilities screen for patients directly using PCR-based molecular methods. As mentioned earlier, viral diseases are seldom treated with chemotherapeutic agents like antibiotics used against, say, a bacterial disease, but is treated by targeting symptoms and not the disease itself. Nevertheless, there are few antiviral agents like remdesivir, which have been successfully used by various COVID-infected countries in reducing the duration and severity of the infection. But these drugs are certainly not a sure shot in treating this disease with 100% efficacy. Few countries, especially in the recent times, have used chloroquine, a primarily an anti-malarial drug, in treating this disease through immune modulation. But again, this drug is also not deemed for its high efficacy. Now, everyone have a million-dollar question. When are we getting a vaccine? The world has been waiting desperately for the vaccine that can finally maim this almighty virus. A vaccine is a preparation that provides immunity for a disease. A plethora of vaccines are available in the markets against several bacterial and viral diseases, which fall under two categories, that is a killed vaccine and a live vaccine. A killed vaccine is prepared by using killed version of a microbe that causes a particular disease, and a live vaccine uses a weakened yet a living microbe that is responsible for the disease. Both these types, when traditionally prepared, have the limitations and there are huge risks involved. But thanks to recent advancements in genetic engineering, recombinant vaccines are being synthesized, which negates the several limitations which are posed by the traditional counterparts. When a vaccine towards a novel virus is synthesized and is made available over the counter for a common man, it has to undergo a series of stringent tests. In a nutshell, the stages generally include preclinical trials, clinical trials, which further includes phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, regulatory reviews, manufacturing process, quality control, so on. The fastest vaccine ever been made has reached the market is 5 years, owing to the arduous procedures which are involved in its making. But looking at the magnanimity of the spread of the virus and its severity of infections, governments across the country are trying to expedite the usual drug approval process in order to deliver the vaccine at the earliest. Still, the earliest that this vaccine can be made available will take about 18 months and nothing less. But on a positive note, there are few vaccines which are in the phase 2 and phase 3 trials against this disease. Now, we should just try to understand the do's and don'ts which we strictly have to follow. As the saying goes, precaution is always better than the cure. Protecting ourselves from this deadly virus is the best strategy one can adapt in this hostile situation. Some of the adaptable survival mantras include washing hands repeatedly, covering our nose and mouth while sneezing, avoid touching eyes, nose and mouth, maintaining social distancing, staying home as much as possible, and not shying from getting medical assistance whenever we are in any doubt. 10 points to keep in mind even after lockdown is lifted are wearing masks, hand sanitization, social distancing, not going out unnecessarily, avoid wearing belt, ring and wristwatches, no handkerchiefs and instead switching on to disposable options, not bringing footwear into the house, not growing beard or growing to hairdressers when it is not necessary, cleaning hands and feet while entering the house, taking a thorough bath on any suspicion of being in the vicinity of a suspected individual. Finally, I want to thank all the unsung heroes fighting this collective war against COVID, my doctors, my healthcare workers, my policemen, my public workers, and my sanitization workers. Thank you all for saving me and my family. Finally, I would like to end my presentation with a quote from Marie Curie. I quote, "Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now it is time to understand more so that we fear less." I unquote. Thank you very much.